Hi, my name is Molly Bader, and I am a cast member and one of the original collaborators for rorriM. rorriM has been a really interesting journey for me because I have been a part of it this entire time, from its initial creation to the very end of its tour. And rorriM really struck a chord with a lot of us because of its subject matter. We decided to tell a story about a girl who struggles with her self-image because we feel that that is something that every person struggles with to some extent, whether or not it is an eating disorder, whether or not it's body dysmorphia or something else. There is always the struggle of not knowing if you are enough, basically, which ties into our play. Touring the show was really both challenging and enlightening in many ways. We performed in cafeterias, on stages of all different sizes, in little rooms. It was really a challenge as an actor to be able to adapt a play into a variety of different spaces because it was different every single time we did it. So every time we went, we had to all collaborate on changes that had to be made based on the space and so on and so forth, because it was always different, which really kept you on your toes. That sort of helped me, it really helped me to focus my energies as an actor. In other situations, like in auditions, I was not nearly as nervous because I knew how to adapt myself to my surroundings. Furthermore, it was remarkable to be able to work with the students afterwards. I'm someone who has always loved working with kids. I find high schoolers a little bit scary, but they were really receptive to it overall. I think the thing that stands out to me most was one of the first times, if not maybe the first time, that we performed it for a school. It was in a small classroom, so we were really close to the students, and I remember watching this one girl who watched the entire thing like this, and she was clearly shaken and she was clearly affected by it. And so afterwards, during the workshop, I just went right to her and I introduced myself, and she was really quiet. She didn't want to participate, she didn't want to do anything, but I just sort of stuck with her, and I wrote a rhyme for her that was about her, trying to sort of highlight her passions and the things that she liked to do. It turns out she was a dancer and she really loved to do that. And what was cool was that she was not very vocal during this interaction. She was still very shy, very timid, but then at the end when we were about to leave, she came up and gave me a big hug and said, "Thank you." And this was a girl who was in, I think, 8th grade, and I remember how much I did not like myself in 8th grade, and it was clear to see that this girl was feeling the same way. So I was just really happy to be able to make that connection and hopefully help at least a little bit, help someone to know their worth. So that was really exciting for me.
Okay. So rorriM for me was interesting because I was not there for the beginning, the creation of it. I joined in fall 2015, and I came right in, learned the play, got in my body, and became a part of the ensemble. And we toured it around 30 schools, something like that. And every time I was learning new things, finding new things in my character and other characters. It was fun because I had all these people in my class that I was friends with, that I had a good connection with. And it was also very challenging. I think everyone can find something in the story that they relate to. I remember this one student that I saw from while I was on stage at this one school, and it was a boy, and he was sitting in the back, and he didn't want to be there. And by the end, when we got to do the workshop, I went up to him and I asked him what he thought, and he wouldn't answer me, just didn't speak. Just looked right at me. And so we continued the workshop, and at the end, he just came up and said thank you and gave me a hug and walked out. And I know that even though he didn't participate, like, that still meant a lot to him, and it meant a lot to me too. And then, so I got the great pleasure of being moved up in role to Anna, our main character in rorriM, for a few shows this semester. And that has been incredibly challenging to take on a role like that and to have to connect to so many students. But it's very rewarding for me to know that I'm reaching these students. And so Mirror has meant a lot to me in this past year, especially going out into the world, knowing that this is what I want to do. Mirror is going to have a great place in my heart and in a lot of students' hearts, I think.